Pass It On. Admittedly, a bit of a cheeky selection for this week, with all the wildfires and smoke in the air. It only takes a spark to get the fire going. It's both a beloved camp song and a public service advisory from the Methodist Discipleship website. If you're a baby boomer raised in the church, born in the late 40s or 50s, you probably grew up singing Kurt Kaiser's Pass It On, around a campfire, maybe a youth gathering of some kind. Kurt Frederick Kaiser was born in 1934 in Chicago. He received his musical education at the American Conservatory of Music and Northwestern University. He and his wife Pat reside in Waco, Texas. They have 4 children, 10 grandchildren. Dr. Carlton Young notes that Kurt Kaiser is an active member of his church, serving as a founding member and deacon in the Seventh and James Baptist Church at Waco. Mr. Kaiser is an accomplished pianist and has written music for a variety of performing media in varied styles. He's composed more than 60 hymn texts and tunes, the most famous of which are Oh, How He Loves You and Me, which he wrote in 1975, and Pass It On. Kurt Kaiser's received many honors, including a Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, an honorary doctorate of sacred music from Trinity College in Illinois, and an honorary doctorate of human letters degree from Baylor University. Here's what Kurt Kaiser has to say about how he came to write Pass It On. On a Sunday night, I was sitting in our den by the fireplace where there were remnants of a fire. And it occurred to me, it only takes a spark to get a fire going. The rest came very quickly. My wife suggested that I should say something about shouting it from the mountaintops. That ended up being the 3rd verse. It only took about 20 minutes to write the lyrics. Afterward, my wife and I went for a walk, letting the song ruminate in our minds. This song reflects the power of a simple idea to a singable tune. Such songs take on a life that the composer may never have intended. Mr. Kaiser notes, I'm always amazed at how the Lord can take a little song, use it to reach so many people. It's been sung at countless weddings, funerals, at ordination services. It's been sung by the Sea of Galilee. It's been sung in Rhodesia. It's been sung on an aircraft carrier. Lots of camps. Never know where it's going to end up. So apart from the obvious reasons for this song coming to mind today, it's nonetheless a beloved camp song for a lot of people. It's still a wonderful piece of music. At its core, it's a song about evangelism, about sharing the hope and the joy that we've discovered through the faith. That when things are scary or stressful, that we can go to God with our worries and God hears our prayers. We are reassured by God's love for us expressed through his sacrifice on the cross. We are reassured by God's promises for a place prepared especially for us in God's holy house, a promise that Jesus offers to us in the Gospel of John, chapter 14. In a world full of tension and uncertainty, as things seem to be right now, this truth, this consistent, reliable, unconditional love of God is life-saving. It's essential. So when we see others struggling with depression or worry, we recognize what they're going through and have an opportunity to throw them a lifeline, to share what gets you through, a favorite verse that you hold on to, a story that made an impact for you from church, an experience of peace and calm that comes from sitting in church. You can ask if it's okay to pray together, to talk to God, to ask for God's strength and peace to face the situation at hand. This is the best way of fulfilling Jesus' instruction to share the faith, the instruction conveyed in this song, Pass It On. Pass It On, though informal in its jargon, might be seen as an extension of the Great Commission given to us in Matthew chapter 28, verses 19 and 20. To preach, to teach, to baptize, to help others find their place in God's family. And it doesn't take much. A spark, a mustard seed, a grain of yeast, and God's work can take off. It can start small with a kindness, an invitation, a gift, a moment of patience or forgiveness, and God's work has begun. So the question for the day, how will you share it? How will you pass it on? God be with you today. Blessings.